Is it still Thursday? Can you hear me, Chair Ellis? Yes, you can, because you're laughing. I am Liz Walsh from County Council District 1 Vice Chair. I believe our Chair, Deb Jung, is also going to be testifying tonight. I thank you for this opportunity. And I will tell you that I would love the luxury of showing up at this hearing tonight and advocating just for my D1 schools and those D1 kids that seem to keep getting shortchanged in this annual exercise. Of this county's almost 13 high schools, District 1 has one high school outside the bounds of the entire District 1. This year, we send D1 kids to more than half of this county's now 12 high schools. And yes, if you're wondering, we're still real sore about where and how High School 13 was cited. Sorer still that High School 14 has vanished entirely from this latest version long-range plan. Turf Valley used to be Elementary School 43. Maybe it's 44 now, maybe not. Gone too, over my 2 long years on this council, is any planned addition at Ellicott Mills Middle in the next 10 years. And even those projects that do remain, now only Dunlogan Middle and Centennial High, have moved back 3 years each to 2027 and 2031. D1 is going in the wrong direction, and we're going in the wrong direction fast. But it's not just D1 that's bursting at the seams anymore. We've redistricted ourselves to near system-wide capacity, countywide. Trailers crowd so many of our schools' basketball courts and their fields, and there's not so much more we can do at this point, at least not anything that I can see. We can't staff the schools we have in place. We can't maintain them like we should. We can't build the ones we already need or know we will, and we probably couldn't staff them anyhow if we did. This is my ask to you, Dr. Marano, Chair Ellis, esteemed members of this board. This cannot be political. This cannot be opaque. Each of us as public servants beholden to our student charges and their families who live here, we have to be honest about what we as a county can and should accomplish, and where and why, and what we cannot. The more expansive and expensive this neglected backlog of work becomes, the more justified every one of those neighborhoods will be when they call us, desperate for some relief, any relief. Our neighborhood and needs against theirs, but their relief should not be presented as one triumphant, exclusive entry on a ledger, at least for now, that just stops the calls from that neighborhood for a while. We need fair and open rules of priority. It's not state funding contributions anymore, is it? It wasn't last year. Is it just capacity? What capacity? When? Is it just equity? For whom and by what measure? Is it something else or more or less? What should it be? We need firm, longer-term commitments on annual spends and who's imposing them and why and how they might change over my 2 long years on this council. Annual projected investment in our schools' capital projects for fiscal years 24, 25, 26, and 27 have been nearly halved from 479 million to 270. We need good data, legitimate planning tools. We need trustworthiness. I've seen firsthand and quite recently how distorting project student yield inputs can be on recent council legislation, CR 89, 2019 for Dorsey Overlook. The same family living in the same phone, same home, same address in that proposed development. You go to Dunlogan last year, you have half as many middle schoolers in that neighborhood, according to Howard County Public Schools. Use an actual comparison point, like the council wrangled before we okayed a pilot agreement for Robinson Overlook. Now the school system's understating yields we're pushing into Wild Lake Middle School from that same development this year by double. That looks like we're playing with numbers. We must make better use of the resources we have, like reserving land as it's developed for public schools under County Code Section 16122. Or we need a better version of that section of our code. For my part, I will keep filing legislation that has the intended effect of ensuring we dedicate schools funding and the infrastructure necessary to meet our needs, or at least kind of meet our needs, or as you know, adequate. And I thank you, board members, for your support of those endeavors in the past. D1 pre-filed earlier today a bill to eliminate a schools APFO exemption that goes back almost 30 years. CB 56, and next week we'll file amendments to now pending resolution CR 110 to add more school-minded voices to the advisory committee that will guide our county administration's recommendation of how to best manage county land use for the next couple of decades. But I admit it's not enough. All of that is not enough. It's not close to enough. How many more years of this kind of action or inaction can we endure before we reach a total point of collapse, of failure? I feel like we're real close, and I want to know what else can we do differently? How can I help? How can we all help? I know the council is aimed, I hope, at the same target that you are, and I'm sure that we all together can get there. And I earnestly hope, at least in the next 2 years of my council term, we can work together to a better solution. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll now have Deb Jung, County Council Chair from District 4.
It just took me a second. Still here. Is it Monday night? I feel like it's Monday night, although it's not 10 o'clock yet. So good evening, members of the school board and Chair Ellis. I am here tonight, as a county council member, a resident of West Columbia, and a parent of an HCPSS graduate. In all of these roles, I want to share with you the deep concern that I have for our county's ability to keep our school capacity in sync with anticipated student enrollment. I'm especially concerned about downtown Columbia's intense population growth over the next 10 years and insufficient plans for adequate school construction. As a council member, I have sponsored and supported revenue increases for school construction funding, as well as responsible development efforts that sought to balance projected student populations with capacity. The county's school surcharge and transfer tax, two primary sources of revenue for school construction, have both been increased during my tenure on the council. In the future, I would like to see the Howard County State Delegation approve a larger distribution of the transfer tax to school construction. Sorry guys, it's a little late, so I'm having a hard time reading all of this. More needs to be done to promote cooperation between school and land use planning among the various government entities. And I know that we have made an attempt to try that, but obviously we need to do more. It is imperative that BOE members and other HCPSS stakeholders are involved in the county's current Housing Opportunities Master Plan and the soon to be updated general plan. Long-range planning for adequate school capacity needs to have a front row seat in land use planning. And I mean a front row seat. We need a lot more people on that general plan committee, as I testified to yesterday, sitting there at the table, able to share the information that you all have about school planning and student planning, and be able to let the general plan committee know what the situation is here in Howard County now, and what it will be like for the next 10 years. As a resident and a representative of Council District 4, I am most concerned about the overcrowding in the West Columbia schools. As it is, we currently do not have enough seats available in our downtown schools for our existing students, let alone all the new students projected for the future in and around downtown. Over 4,500 new apartments and condos are currently planned for downtown Columbia, pushing enrollment growth at Bryant Woods, Running Brook, and Clemens Crossing well beyond target utilization. The HCPSS 2020 feasibility study is well aware of this problem and stated the following: due to the projected new construction, in-migration, and other factors, it is anticipated that this area of the county may need over 650 seats to maintain 100% capacity utilization in the region through 2030. At a minimum, it is projected that 350 seats are needed to stay within target utilization. Capacity utilization for this group of schools is projected to exceed 110% by 2026, with 5 out of the 6 elementary schools over 100% capacity by 2030. I cannot even begin to tell you how many new developments there are on the boards right now for an area that is within 2 miles of my home. And I know, Mavis, that you live within 2 miles of my home, as you do as well, Ms. Coombs, and as you do as well, Ms. Mallow. So this is very concerning. Downtown Columbia's new elementary school 44 appeared in the approved FY21 HCPSS capital budget with an occupancy date to be determined. But the proposed FY22 HCPSS capital budget request no longer includes elementary school 44 in the long range master plan. I urge you to prioritize this vital project so downtown Columbia has the school infrastructure it needs to serve the community. Ensuring adequate learning space for this growth area, targeted for many affordable housing projects, also addresses our commitment to equity for all students at all income levels. And again, much like Ms. Walsh, I am here to help. Anything that I can do to assist the school district in this effort, I am more than happy to do. So at your service.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you. Thank you for coming out. We have several people who have signed up to testify during this public hearing, and we'll start with Lisa Soto from PTAC.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lisa Soto, and I'm currently serving as VP Issues for the PTA Council of Howard County, representing 74 plus schools. The capital budget timing for the state of Maryland comes at a time when Howard County does not have a complete picture of its available spending. However, parents can clearly see the big picture and recognize that 3 needed projects listed on the proposed capital budget are going to be brought online at a rate much slower than our anticipated needs for capacity, while also attempting to maintain our existing facilities. The temporary reduction in enrollment due to the current virtual learning environment, raised class sizes, increased school surcharges, and potential Kerwin funding cannot offset the decades-long backlog in maintenance and capacity projects needed to accommodate future enrollment. Howard County is reevaluating its growth policies, and early indications are that there will be an even more significant increase in high-density growth, with a yet proven view that somehow revenues for education support will exceed expenses and fill prior decades-long gaps. If this conclusion is mistaken, we would see a steady stream of new capital projects here tonight, coinciding with the phase out of portable trailer classrooms. This is clearly not the case, which is why we stand beside you to defend and advocate for the growth policies and protections set to achieve the standards of adequacy that all of our children deserve without compromise. We ask that current and soon-to-be former Board of Education members selected to represent HCPSS on various Howard County task forces and committees, such as HOCO by Design, also known as Howard County's Next General Plan, and the Howard County Racial Equity Task Force, recognize and illuminate during their time of service on these task forces and committees the very much needed capital projects so desperately needed by HCPSS. Thank you.